Welcome back. In our previous study, we explored John 3:16 to 21, where we saw the tragic reason some people reject Jesus, not because of ignorance, but because they love darkness rather than light. Today, the focus shifts. We move from the judgment of unbelief to the joy of true humility. John the Baptist's final public words in this gospel show us what it looks like when a servant of God finds complete satisfaction not in his own fame, but in pointing others to Jesus. Let's read John 3:22 to 26. Jesus and his disciples are baptizing in the Judean countryside. At the same time, John the Baptist is still baptizing nearby. A disagreement arises, perhaps about a ceremonial washing, and John's disciples come to him with a concern. Rabbi, he who was with you across the Jordan, to whom you bore witness, look, he is baptizing, and all are going to him. There's a hint of jealousy here. John's followers are anxious. Jesus, the one John introduced, is now drawing bigger crowds. Their concern is understandable, but John's response is extraordinary. Let's hear it in verse 27 to 30. A person cannot receive even one thing unless it is given him from heaven. John begins by acknowledging a crucial truth. All ministry, all influence, all gifts come from God. You don't earn them. You don't take credit for them. You receive them. You yourselves bear me witness that I said, I am not the Christ, but I have been sent before him. John reminds them, I told you this from the start. I'm not the Messiah. I came to prepare the way. My role was always meant to be temporary. Now listen to the analogy he uses in verse 29. The one who was the bride is the bridegroom. The friend of the bridegroom, who stands and hears him, rejoices greatly at the bridegroom's voice. Therefore, this joy of mine is now complete. In Jewish weddings, the friend of the groom had an important job. He helped arrange the marriage and prepare everything. But when the groom arrived, the friend stepped back. His joy was not in being the center of attention, but in hearing the groom's voice and seeing the bride welcomed. John says, that's me. I'm the friend. Jesus is the bridegroom. Israel is the bride. My work is complete, and I'm full of joy. Then comes the powerful conclusion in verse 30. He must increase, but I must decrease. This is not spoken in sadness. It's the voice of satisfaction. John's joy is made full not by fame, but by faithfulness. He was never the center of the story. Christ was. This one verse should shape the heart of every believer. He must increase, I must decrease. In our ministries, in our conversations, in our reputations, in our plans, Jesus must become greater and we must become less. John the Baptist's mission was ending. But there was no bitterness in his words, only joy. He knew who he was, and more importantly, he knew who Jesus was. His humility came from clarity. Everything comes from God. My role is to point to Jesus. My joy is found in seeing him glorified. May that become our prayer too. He must increase, I must decrease.